There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
The morning news on YourIowa.com is brought to you by the Commission on U.S. Territories, striving for equal representation around the globe, and by Keep Iowa First, committed to keeping the Iowa caucuses the first in the nation contest in selecting the presidency of the United States. And now, here's your host, Brent Roske.
Hello, everybody. It's Friday. With the pandemic, with everything else that's going on, I think we're allowed to simply celebrate the fact that we made it through another week. So my congratulations to you. You did it. We did it together. And thanks so much for tuning into the program. Up on the screen, Over the Moon is a film on Netflix. One of the voice actors from that film and author, Irene Tsu, is going to be with us in just a little bit. Boy, folks, you're going to want to stick around for this. Her life story is incredible, populated with such people you might have heard of, like Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra and John Wayne, and it's a fantastic story. So Miss Irene Sue will be with us in just a little bit. Some quick headlines. New York Times is saying Biden cancels Keystone Pipeline and rejoins the Paris Climate Agreement. Foreign leaders hailed Mr. Biden's first moves as a powerful signal that the United States, what they're calling the largest contributor to global warming in history, intends to restart its efforts to lower pollution levels. And here's a tweet from French President Emmanuel Macron to Joseph Biden and Kamala Harris. Best wishes. And at the end, he says, welcome back to the Paris Agreement. Also on Wednesday, Mr. Biden rescinded the construction permit for the Keystone Pipeline. Esquire headline sums it up nicely. It goes, the Keystone Pipeline is as dead as John D. Rockefeller. Reuters is saying Biden's decision to cancel the permit is seen as the project's death knell after more than a decade of legal battles and shifting fortunes based on who has held the White House. So no more Keystone Pipeline. Finally, COVID vaccinations. You look at some of these numbers, folks, and it is incredible the amount of work that's going into it right now. President Biden has now promised to administer 100 million shots of the vaccine in the first 100 days. That's his promise, and they're working on that. In the past 7 days, I mean, these numbers are astronomical. 914,000 doses have been administered every day. If the vaccination continues at this rate, every adult in the U.S. could be fully vaccinated by summer 2022, but they're saying that herd immunity may take over before then, so we might be in better shape before then. Those numbers are thanks to CNN. Folks, today we've got two amazing guests, and then Irene after this, so let's bring them up on the screen here. We've got all the way from Minnesota, we've got Charlie, and we've got Megan. Are you in Los Angeles right now?
Yes, I am, but I was just in Iowa.
So look at this. Everybody's on the screen right now. Charlie and Megan, they made a film called Nina of the Woods. Welcome to the program, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for having us today. This is great.
This is awesome. So Charlie's in Minnesota, where I grew up. It's even more chilly there, and Megan is in Los Angeles. We are grateful to YouTube for sponsoring the tech of this program, that we can do things like this. Nina of the Woods is a very interesting film. Now, Charlie, your background is fascinating. Folks, if you want to see some amazing illustrations and video work and editing, check out Charlie's website. You are an artist, and you have taken that now into the motion picture. It's not your first feature-length film, but down to the specifics of even the font work and the opening credits and the detail work and the editing. Talk about how you brought some of your sensibilities from the design and illustration work into your motion picture directing.
Thanks for that nice intro. Yeah, I have spent a lot of time drawing. That's been my since I've been very young. So I've been lucky enough to have been taught to draw at a very young age by my dad. So I've spent most of my life making things. And in that time, I think I've really learned to appreciate the details, the effort that goes into making even the smallest part of something as being important to the overall project. So I appreciate you picking up on some of those little details in the film. That was all very well planned out and storyboarded out from the very beginning. We really we put everything we could into this movie from the very beginning.
And it shows. And so what we're seeing right now on the screen, folks, this is the trailer for the film. And it's really all of those little moments, the opening sequence. I'm not going to go into story details. I'll let you guys tell folks what it's about because it is evocative. It's definitely, it's almost, Blair Witch Projects meets M. Night Shyamalan. And what's interesting about it is even the opening sequence, you got this, television team, and they're in the edit bay. And I mean, I know that you've done that because that language and what's going on, it's tense moment. What are we going to do? How are we going to show the shot? I've been, I think, in 16,000 of those meetings, and it gets tense. And so obviously your background must have informed scenes like that and the production of the show within a show. How did that work out?
Yeah, I've been around advertising since I was a really young kid. My dad directed television commercials, and I was in those casting rooms and editing rooms since I was barely in school. So I've watched that stuff all around me my whole life. So I really wanted to start the movie with a little insight for maybe some people who haven't been in those rooms, what it's really like making something under deadlines and under the executives who are making decisions for the people who are editing. And I just wanted to give a little glimpse of how that works, and also talk a little bit about the fact that this movie is something that is manufactured. And I wanted to start with showing that when we see something on TV, it's taken from bits and pieces of stories and kind of cobbled together. It's not necessarily reality. It's edited and curated to evoke a certain response. And I thought that first scene kind of set the stage for that.
So Megan, this is your movie. You're once it gets into your portion of the film, I think you're in every scene. It was a tapestry to show off what you wanted to do. How was it described to you when you first read the script? And talk to us about the making of this, because so much of it rides on your shoulders.
Yeah. So I've known Charlie for quite a few years now. I would say like maybe 9 years. And we met on his first film, The Center. I read the sides for The Center and drove 4 hours to Minnesota to audition, and then 4 hours back to Iowa, and then for the call back 4 hours there. And I would do it all over again. I drive 20 hours. But yeah, that's how I met Charlie. And then he came to me with talking to me about this script. I would say like a year before filming, right, Charlie?
Yeah, if not more. Yeah.
Yeah, if not more. And he'd just been talking to me about this amazing concept, and I was just really drawn in. And he was interviewing me too about like what it's like to be an actress out here and the struggles that we have, and goals and such. So we were collaborating early on, and sharing ideas and talking a lot. And yeah, filming was incredible because it was in northern Minnesota. It was so quiet. I would go for a morning run. And we filmed about a week in Minneapolis prior to that in the yoga studio. And I just love working with Charlie. He's phenomenal. I would be honored to do any of his projects. And his storyboards like put you there before we even like got on set. Like you saw his animation and everything. His storyboards just bring it to life right away. So you feel like you've already stepped foot on set before you step foot on set. So it really sets the mood.
What part of Minnesota did you film?
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, Minnesota. That is quite a ways up there. I was born and raised in Minnesota. I spent a summer once at Breezy Point, Minnesota, but you folks were even farther north than that. Well, that's very interesting. So, Charlie, Megan, why don't you tell people what the film is about without giving too much away?
All right. The story is really about the supernatural and whether or not these things that maybe people can't explain or experiences they've had that are really difficult to relate to others, whether those things really exist, whether they're true or not, whether they're reality or fabricated. And it's told through the lens of an actress who gets cast on a reality TV show and returns to her hometown to investigate some events that have happened there. It's not told in a way that says what's right or wrong. It's really meant as a reflection piece for people to kind of draw their own conclusions and to have their own experience with it.
Mm-hmm. Megan, when you first read the script, what about it really spoke to you?
Oh, I just felt like it could be like, it felt very personal, and I just only imagine that the audience would feel personal to them too, because it's all about inner struggles, and we have to go deep inside of ourselves and really figure out who we are and our blocks and what we love and what we're afraid of to become the person we want to be, because that's always going to be in our way. So that really spoke to me in that sense. And like also being into meditation, I know we're all into meditation. It was just, like really finding yourself, really going through with the woods essentially. Yeah. So
in the past couple of weeks, I've been honored to have on some amazing filmmakers like yourselves, Oscar winner Brian Fogel, Oscar nominee Sam Pollard amongst them. The conversation has been veering into what the reality is now distributing motion pictures and how that's changed. It used to be, let's get it into as many theaters as we can. And obviously that is not necessarily the case right now. Charlie, when you think about putting this film out there, A, why don't you tell people how it's available for them to see it? But B, when you were getting the film finished and all that, what were your thoughts as far as mounting a distribution plan?
Sure. Yeah. Well, right now you can watch it on a lot of the video on demand services. So like iTunes and Amazon, a lot of the cable providers like Comcast and I think there's several. There's our website that has it all listed, but there's quite a few options where you can rent it or buy it right now. But yeah, when we, I think you always dream of showing it in a theater. I think that's what filmmakers often have this. It's a really fun experience to be able to watch it with other people, and also you've made the sound to work in the big surround theater, and you want to see it really big. But I think that is we only were able to do that once before theaters closed and the festivals all kind of shut down and went to online screenings. So yeah, I think the world is changing, obviously, and how that I think there's opportunities probably for filmmakers to get it to more people. Getting into theaters on a real theatrical distribution for an independent filmmaker is very, very hard. It doesn't happen as often. We hear about those films that make it out into the world in the theaters, but it doesn't happen a whole lot. So maybe there are opportunities in this kind of new reality for smaller films like the one we've created here.
Damiano Tucci was on just a few days ago, and he produced movies like LBJ, and he's got a new one called Borrego coming out starring Lucy Hale that they actually filmed in Spain to take the place of California because they couldn't film in California, but Spain said, yeah, come on over. And I was like, wow, that's solving problems interestingly. And, he lives in Florida, and he said that their theaters are still open, but he said, yeah, he said, what we're focused on right now is making Borrego the best film we can. And we believe that people will find it after the fact. But yeah, it's a new challenge. There's so many platforms. You have to decide, where is best and all that sort of thing. So Megan from Iowa in Los Angeles, we have Britt Slater on this program, and she recently moved back to Iowa. I came back to the Midwest after 17 years in Southern California. My question to you is, how do you like it in Los Angeles, and what are your future plans?
Yeah, I like it here a lot. It's nice because it's always nice out, although I am a vampire, so I do spend my time indoors for the most part, and stay away from the sun. Yeah, I like it here, the opportunities and everything, but I also, my heart, New Mexico. So we're looking at kind of doing both places permanently.
New Mexico. Next week, we've got Carl Lucas on the program, just produced the film The Wave starring Justin Long. And, he's from Albuquerque, which Netflix is building a city there basically to produce films. Yeah. So yeah, the idea of it being centrally located in California is definitely being tested right now. But so Charlie, what's up next for you now that Nina the Woods is out there and a critical smash hit? What's up next for you?
Well, I'm working with actually the actor who plays Jeremy in the film. If anyone has seen it, he is producing a film that I'm going to direct. We're hoping to film this August, September, or something like that. And it's a true story about a murder investigation in the 1930s in a small town in North Dakota. So it's kind of a new, different kind of a movie. It's based on facts and real events versus, which is pure imagination and a very nonlinear type of story. So this will be kind of a new adventure for me, and hopefully working a lot with Megan too in the future. That's always high on my priority list. So yeah.
And Megan, you were just on the program This Is Us. Is that right?
Yeah. That was a dream come true. My first concert played to babies, so there was no pressure. Babies will like anything, so it's like, oh, no pressure.
Well, that's a huge show. So congratulations on that. Congratulations on Nina of the Woods to both of you. And thank you so much for being on the program today.
Thanks for having us. What an honor.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it's truly my pleasure. The show only works with interesting guests, and you folks certainly fit the bill. So, folks, Nina of the Woods, check it out. It is an evocative, thrilling motion picture. It takes its time, and I really appreciate that. And it also has really flashes of if you've ever wondered what it's like to work in television, advertising, filmmaking. There's little moments of it where like, oh yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah, I've been there too. So nice job to everyone involved. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. Speaking of advertising, here's a piece I directed for Justice for Vets, and then we'll be right back with Irene Sue from the Netflix film Over the Moon.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Most veterans return to our communities as leaders, but everyone's journey home is not the same.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
Without assistance, the downward spiral can be quick and destructive.
It doesn't have to be this way.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Justice for Vets is the only national organization dedicated to the expansion of veterans' treatment courts.
Veterans treatment courts hold our veterans accountable for their actions.
By providing structure, treatment, and mentoring, these courts help our veterans and their families get their lives back on track.
And veterans treatment courts work.
We ask much of our men and women in uniform, and they ask little in return. It is our collective duty to come to their aid when they struggle on the home front. This not only honors their sacrifice, but makes our communities stronger.
A donation to Justice for Vets helps put a veterans treatment court within reach of every veteran in need.
A donation to Justice for Vets keeps veterans in treatment where they belong.
A donation to Justice for Vets shows your commitment to leaving no veteran behind.
A donation to Justice for Vets will help save lives, restore families, and rebuild communities.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs. Thank you.
Folks, welcome back to the program. You know, one of the great privileges of having a program like this is you get to meet fascinating and amazing people, and today is no exception. The author of a book, but a storied life that we're going to hear a little bit about. I don't want to tell too much because I want you to go buy the book, but she has had an amazing life. Irene Sue is with us. Thanks so much for being on the program today, Irene.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So the title of your book is A Watercolor Dream, and I thought that was so interesting. When you read the book, you find out, you know, what does that mean? And we've had many authors on the program, and a recent children's book author, they used watercolors because they wanted an evocative type of art to tell their story. And it's interesting that you use that artistic motif to kind of set the stage. Why did you choose that title, and why is it special to you?
Well, I'm always been very close to watercolor. I cannot paint oil or acrylic. My mother is a watercolor artist, and she's quite, you know, she's published, and she's been a teacher. When she was in New York, she taught at the Art Institute, and she's like an established artist, where I am only, you know, practicing still.
Well, this book touches on so many different, literally, chapters of your life. Your most recent one, you're in a Netflix film, which it's beautifully animated. Speaking of art, the legendary animator Glenn Keane just got an Oscar just a year and a half ago. But your background, you have been in movies with, I mean, these names, folks: Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, Elvis Presley. But this photo, you know, I used to have a sailboat in Marina Del Rey, and the guy who had the sailboat next to me, his name was Frank, and his wife's name is Irene. So when I got a photograph labeled Frank and Irene, I thought it was my friends Frank and Irene. Here are Frank Sinatra and you. Why don't you tell folks, this is an incredible photo. Why don't you tell folks what's going on here in this photograph?
I believe we were at Caesar's Palace, which he was performing. And in those days, we don't have, cell phones, iPhones, and to take pictures. So 5 minutes to 7, the phone rings. And I thought, whoa, picks up. Hi, baby. I don't know, maybe he calls everybody baby. I don't know. Yes, it's me. Well, I don't know if you heard about my divorce is, with Mia. Is all over the news, and I can't go home now. I was heading to home, but the paparazzis are all over my front door and everything. So I'm heading out to the desert, and I want you to meet me in the desert this weekend.
Wow.
You're
talking about Palm Springs.
Yeah, desert meaning the Palm Springs. I mean, I really don't. First of all, I didn't know anybody who had a phone in the car, at that time. So, where are you calling from? I mean, I don't know,
Fascinating story. The book is filled with these types of stories. You can watch her on Netflix right now. She's in a film called Over the Moon, a beautiful animated film. She's the voice of one of the characters there. And real quick, Irene, why don't you tell people about Over the Moon and what kind of film it is?
Well, it is a brilliant, like you said, Glenn Keane. He's from the school that they actually drew the cartoons, but he showed me. He directed me every single line. I mean, I thought that when I put my earphone on, I was going to be talking to some of the actor who's interacting. You know how it is.
It's a lovely film about space travel and a young girl's love of science and space, and it's a beautiful film. So Irene, congratulations on that, and really congratulations on leading one of the most fascinating lives anybody could ever have. And thank you for being on the program today.
Thank you. And it hasn't stopped. It's still going on. I'm living the teenagers are alive, because I have a daughter who's 23.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much, Irene. And folks, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with more of the program. Don't go anywhere.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and crazy cool vibes. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Well, folks, that is our show for today. It is Friday again. You made it through another week. Congratulations. It's rough out there. If you know someone who's struggling right now, reach out, send a text, send an email. Let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know you're caring about them. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you back here next week. A lot of exciting things. We've got Greg Schwartz coming next week. They made a documentary about Scottish whiskey, also called Scotch. I might have had some of that myself in the past. We've got humanitarians, we've got nonprofits. It's a great week next week. Monday morning, we'll be right back here. Have a lovely weekend. Take care.